Hey guys, welcome back. It's me, Nicole from Brushes and Books. Yes, I did fall off of the face of the earth for a little while, but I am back. As you can see, I am in the woods. I have my phone set up kind of attached to a branch, so it's quite rustic here. I am at my family cottage, which is actually a big reason why I haven't been uploading a whole lot, because I can't actually upload with the internet that we have here. So I'm so sorry for that, but I am back here today to talk to you guys about my July wrap up and a little bit about my reading rush experience. For the month of July, I did manage to finish 6 books and start a 7th. I was hoping that I would get a little bit more than that done, like finish 7 books with the reading rush and everything at the end of the month, but it just didn't happen. Towards the end of the reading rush, I kind of fell off the train a little bit, so that didn't really happen, but I am still happy with the books that I did read. July was probably the best reading month I've had so far in terms of enjoying the books that I was reading. So first up in July, I started with books 2 and 3 from the Circle of Magic series. This is the series by Tamora Pierce, and book 2 is Triss's book, and book 3 is Daja's book. I did also start book 4, which is Briar's book. That was actually the last book that I started during the reading rush, and I have not, as of today, July 31st, finished that book. I've just started it. So I'm hoping to finish that in the first couple of days of August. So this series, the Circle of Magic series, is basically following these 4 young people who find out that they have very specific magical powers. And they get taken to this school where they can learn how to kind of navigate their powers and understand why they have them. I love this series. It's always a breath of fresh air. The characters are all very diverse in both appearance and personality. It's really, really nice to have a series also that is full of short books. Each of these books is like around 250 pages long, so they're super quick reads, and I'm absolutely loving it. So I highly recommend the Circle of Magic series by Tamora Pierce, and I actually ended up giving both books 2 and 3 4.5 out of 5 stars. The third book that I read in the month of July was Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and oh my gosh, what a great story. This story basically follows Alex, the first son, or the son of the President of the United States at the time, and it also follows Prince Henry of England. Basically follows the story of how the two of them meet and initially kind of maybe don't get along and then eventually fall in love. And it is just the sweetest story. I absolutely loved it. The characters were all really well thought out and really well presented. And I thought the writing was really, really good. It was very stylized, but it was very interesting. It was a very fast-paced book. The writing style really worked well with the story, and I just kind of couldn't put it down. I loved it. The thing that I will say about the book is that I actually found myself wanting to know a little bit more about the England side of things. So I would say that Alex, the son of the president, is our main character, and so we get a lot of his life and we get a lot of kind of what's going on in the White House kind of thing, but we don't get quite as much of Prince Henry's side of things, so what's going on in Buckingham Palace or at Kensington, etc., etc. And so it's kind of like I mean, maybe this is just a personal thing. I'm obsessed with England and English culture and stuff, so maybe that's just me. I wanted to see more of that. But overall, I think it was a really good representation from what I know of England and the United States, but, you know, I'm Canadian, so I don't know. I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was really well written. Loved the characters. They were all really realistic and well fleshed out. Overall, I ended up giving this story a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So you can see already the first 3 books that I read this month were all 4.5 out of 5, so that's pretty darn awesome. So keeping in trend with my 4.5 out of 5 stars, the 4th book that I read this month was The Prince and the Dressmaker. So this is a book by Jen Wang. I believe it was written and illustrated by her. I'll have to check on that. Basically, The Prince and the Dressmaker is... There's a squirrel over there. Squirrel! The Prince and the Dressmaker follows the story of a prince and his dressmaker, and it's exactly as it sounds. The prince likes to dress up in women's clothing and go out on the town as a very regal, noble woman type character. And it is the most beautiful, sweet, endearing story that I've read. And it's very short because, I mean, most graphic novels are a little bit short. And so I found that the story was a bit simple for my liking, but again, I think it did what it was meant to do, and it really just celebrated this really beautiful friendship between the prince and his dressmaker. So anyways, don't have a whole lot to say about it. It was very short, very sweet, beautiful, beautiful art style. I really, really liked the art style, and I really appreciated that in the back of the book they had a little blurb saying kind of the artist's process and how they put together the book, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, overall, as I said, I really enjoyed the book, and I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Oh, my neighbor can see me. Howdy, neighbor. That's awkward. Man, I'm just getting all sorts of interruptions. Okay, so 2 more books that I read in July. These were both books that I read during the Reading Rush readathon. So during the readathon, I actually ended up only finishing 2 books, and then I started the third, which was Briar's book by Tamara Pierce. But I'm actually very happy with that progress. I think that's pretty good for me. I usually finish maybe like 5 books a month, and so 2 in a week, I'm happy with that. I'm totally fine with that. Especially since the first book that I finished for the Reading Rush was Middlegame by Seanan McGuire, and oh my gosh, favorite book of all time. Basically, it is, I don't even know what to call this story. It's a little bit like magical realism, surrealist kind of a thing. It's really odd. It's like magic and science, follows alchemy. It's interesting. So anyways, we follow twins Roger and Dodger, who are basically created in an alchemical lab and raised to be essentially gods. So we've got Roger, who his thing is words and language, so he can pick up on languages. He's really good at, reading and speaking and reading what people are saying to him and things like that. And then we've got Dodger, his sister, who is, her thing is numbers. Her thing is math and numbers and calculating everything, and it turns out to be like a really cool superpower, actually. Spoiler alert, Dodger's power is a little cooler than Roger's. You didn't hear it from me. The whole story of the book is really just them growing up and coming to terms with the fact that they were, first of all, that they kind of are geniuses in society. They kind of just see themselves as geniuses. They don't actually know that they were created until a little bit later in the book. And then once they do come to realize that they were created, they have a whole bunch of problems that they need to get through, basically, concerning their creators and their own freedom. That's all I'm going to say about that. But it was a really, really wonderful story. The characters were amazing. I would say everybody, like everyone from supporting cast to main characters, all completely amazing. Loved them all. They were fantastic. I guess I don't want to say too much because I want people to pick up this book. It was amazing. It was the writing style. Can I just say something about the writing style? Oh my gosh. So I'm somebody, as you guys know, if you've watched my channel before, you know I get bored when I read. Like, incredibly bored. This book, the writing, like every single sentence felt worthwhile. That's the best way that I can describe the writing style, is like there was no fluff. It was just, here's what you need to know, here's the information, and here's a little bit of extra around the information that was just beautiful writing style that really added to the explanations that were given in the book. I hope that makes sense. Overall, the writing style was just incredible. I loved Seanan McGuire's writing. This is my first Seanan McGuire book, and you can sure as heck bet I am going to go and read a whole bunch of her other stuff because I just loved Middlegame. If you cannot tell, this is a 5 out of 5 star book for me. Honestly, if I could give it 10 stars out of 5, I would, because it was just weird and beautiful and incredible. I loved it. So, on a slightly sadder note, not really sad, but a slightly dimmer note, we'll say. I also finished an audiobook this month, also for the Reading Rush, and that was Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. So this is book 2 of the Lunar Chronicles series. So the first book was Cinder, where we followed the cyborg Cinder in a loose retelling of the Cinderella story. In this, the second book, Scarlet, we follow the main character, Scarlet, as well as a couple of other characters like her grandmother and a character named Wolf. And if you can't tell already, this is a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood. And it's all kind of in a very sci-fi manner. So it's kind of a really cool, fresh take on a fairy tale retelling. Scarlet was okay. I'm not just talking about characters, I'm talking about the books in general. But I also just preferred Cinder, the character, over Scarlet, the character. I found that Scarlet was a little bit flat. I thought she wasn't really as well fleshed out. And all throughout the book, I was very glad that we revisited Cinder, the character, and her story in this book, because without that storyline, I think I would have gotten very bored with Scarlet's storyline. This book kind of knocked this whole series down a peg for me in terms of, I guess, just priority. Like, I'm not really prioritizing this series anymore because I do care about what happens to Cinder, but I don't really care about anybody else. I don't know, maybe Cress will be amazing, the third book in the series, I don't know. But as of right now, the series just kind of, I think I've kind of put it on hold for a bit while I get through some of the books that are a higher priority for me. I don't know, just like a peg lower than Cinder. So I gave Cinder 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm going to give Scarlet 3.5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, those are all of the books that I read in July. As I said, I did finish 2 books and started a 3rd book during the reading rush. As of right now, I'm going to try and finish that 3rd book, Briar's book. After that, I'm going to be doing Priory of the Orange Tree. So anyways, guys, I am really trying to get back on track with my channel. I know I've been away for a bit. August hopefully will not be crazy busy. September is going to be, so you might not see me quite as often in September, but I will do my best, essentially. Anyways, guys, just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do not hesitate to like and subscribe for future videos. And also, if you've read any of the books that I read, or if you have any recommendations you can give me based on the books that I read and enjoyed this month, please, please, please do leave a comment down below. I'd be really, really thankful if you left, let's say, maybe some recommendations of books that I'd like that are similar to Middlegame, maybe? I don't know. Do you guys think I'll like Seanan McGuire's other books? I hope I do. We'll see. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.